Welcome to Raising OKC Kids, Conversations with Metro Family in Oklahoma City. I'm Erin Page, and joining me today are Kerrie and Kenny Gregory to share their foster care journey. Welcome to you both. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Kerrie, not only are you a foster parent, you are also a child welfare specialist in foster care and adoption recruitment for Garvin and McLean counties. Tell us more about what your job entails and what you do every day.
Oh, I have the best job at formerly DHS, now it's OHS. And so I get to go just speak about the need for foster care and meet new people and recruit them and answer questions, dispel myths. People always have, the unknowns of foster care. And so I get to go into businesses and talk to people and churches, different events. And then when people do show interest, I follow up with them and help them get started on the process, kind of walk them through the process until they get certified. And then I hand them off to foster care.
That's
So
great.
it's a great job, and I'm really blessed to have it.
That sounds very rewarding. So when did the two of you become interested in becoming foster parents yourself? Kerrie, you're out there recruiting people, and I guess you recruited yourselves.
Well, okay, so prior to me becoming a recruiter, about 8 years ago, I did work as a child welfare worker in permanency, which is the worker that stays with the child once they come into foster care and helps them either go back home to their parents or goes with them towards adoption. And so I saw the need for foster parents, the need for families and kids who were in the office or just waiting, sibling groups that were split up. And so then I left there and went into teaching for a while. Our family was just not where it needed to be to
Foster.
yeah.
For us, I think it's been on our hearts now for a while. Kerrie and I have been married for almost 20 years, and I know
We got married when we were 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, about 20 years, and I know Kerrie's heart has always been to have some kind of outreach like that with fostering or others, and my heart really wasn't in it at the moment. At that time, yeah. And so we started just thinking about it, and just giving it up to prayer. And like what Kerrie is saying is that our home really wasn't yet prepared and ready for it. We started praying. God has delivered us through, just like every other family, a ton of heartaches and things like that, and God has delivered. And so then we just spend our prayer nights, time talking, and it prepared us, like, what do you want us to do to better your kingdom, Father? And so it just led my heart to be able to accept some changes and understand that fostering is also the desire for us as a family to do. And so we started out looking at respite care and started getting approved for respite care. And somewhere between respite care and Thanksgiving of 2018, we became foster parents of 2 wonderful children. And next thing you know, our family is right smack dab in the middle of being a foster family.
Yeah, one of the things, Kenny, was how do you love someone else's child? You have those questions, and he was just unsure of it. And I was like, Kenny, you met me when Caleb was 4. My oldest was 2. Yeah, we got married when he was 4, and Kenny is his father. And so he's like, oh yeah, sometimes you forget that he's
you forget. Everybody says that we look alike, act alike, talk alike. Poor kid. Yeah, and so we really have a good time. But no, it's been fun, a great journey.
So you have some experience in that, it turns out, Kenny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's been a lot of fun. Just trying to for me, in my family there wasn't a lot of babies around ever. It was a small family, and so whenever Kerrie and I got together, I had no idea what I was doing. Playing catch with a 2-year-old, I'm throwing a basketball at him like I would a kid that's 10. I'm knocking a kid over because I'm throwing a fastball at him, playing basketball. And so, a lot of fun trying to learn. And so, similar situation, and so then, as the growth of me as a father from that early time when Caleb was 2 until, 11, 14 kids later.
Now he's 22.
Yeah,
Oh,
now,
yeah,
yeah.
22.
Yeah, now our kid is 22 years old and still throwing fastballs at him. So it's pretty fun.
How many kids have you guys welcomed into your home since you became foster parents?
We were counting, we have had 11 fosters. We've had several for multiple years at a time. And so we've adopted one child and we are
In the process, we're a couple weeks away
Yeah.
from adopting our first little girl. So
Congratulations.
she'll be the first girl in our family, in both Kerrie's family or my family, since Kerrie was born.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of girls. You know, her mom has 7 grandsons, and then my mom's got 7 grandsons. So it'll be fun for them to have granddaughters and for us to have a daughter. And she'll be
And
spoiled.
he's surprisingly a really good girl dad. I would, yeah.
I did not think I was.
He always impresses me. Yeah, he's there. Yeah, they typically want him over me.
So it depends on the situation. They love their mothering, and they got to have their mother during certain situations.
We kind of even it out, like with the
exactly. And and like I know that there's a lot of mistruths or fears from fathers coming into the foster. Like, how am I going to be a dad to somebody else's child? Is that child going to respond to me like he should or she should to the father? And I can tell you this: if you come in with an open, clear heart, open and clear mind, that those children are so resilient, ready to just have somebody love on them, and they are so eager to have a father in their lives or a mother in their lives that they will just gravitate toward that structure. They'll gravitate toward you as the father, the head of the home, and things of that nature.
Let me tell about last year. Kenny, our daughter, she started playing basketball last year, and Kenny's coached for years, and he was like, I'm gonna sit it out. This is I'm not gonna coach, and I'm gonna let someone else do it. And I was like, okay. By the second game, Kenny was on the court, and so,
well, I mean,
and now he's her head coach.
It wasn't like I forced my way out there or anything. There was some like she was a mom that coached several children or several other sports, and then next thing you know, they needed some help coaching, so I stepped in to help. And so, but it's something we joke about, have a good time, but
now he's getting ready to coach T-ball for our foster son and adopted son. So this should
6-year-old, T-ball. But no, but for the dads, I can tell you is that it's more rewarding than anything you can ever imagine. Go back, because I was wanting to answer that question on that a little bit about the fathers, because I know that's probably a hurdle that a lot of moms or families go through, that they want to start fostering. So, but
that's I'm glad you addressed that, and I think that is definitely kind of a myth or a stereotype maybe that people have, or a fear that becomes a little bit unfounded, kind of the same along the lines of, how could I love somebody else's child, or how could I let a child go after they have been in my home if they're able to return back to biological family.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing to do, obviously, with us, like having several kids in our home for several years, the longest being 3.5 years in our home before they went back. And it is some of that stuff, because I mean, when you're bringing them home from the hospital and then 3.5 years later, they're going to their biological home. But if you stay focused and understanding that this is where God has led you to be, and this is what God has led you to do, then it's got to be in his hands.
Well, and if you see that shift too with the parent, like from where you started.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of peace in that mind as well.
Like they've worked hard and they've done what they need to do. So their child's where they need to be.
Correct. And that's one thing, like what Kerrie said, is that if you see the parent growing as well, it is fantastic to see that. And that's the ultimate goal, is for us as foster parents, is to keep their children and nurture and love on them until that those families can welcome that child back home. And we're here to not only foster the children, but also help those parents and foster them into becoming the parents that they need to be. And a lot of times, we get a lot of that out of us as well, because I start to learn how to become a better father as well during that time.
Can you share some examples of how you all have been able to bridge those relationships between biological families and the children you fostered? And Kenny, like you've mentioned, how maybe you've been able to mentor those parents in their journey.
Sure.
Let's see, our little guy that we had for over 3 years, her and I, of course, it didn't start out great, but then as we developed and learned and spoke to each other and got to know each other, we've pretty much developed a friendship, myself and his biological mom. And sorry, go ahead and
No,
part.
no, it's just, and what you do is that they start to misplace some anger sometimes, and a lot of times it's toward us because they see us more often, and we're the ones that have their children. And look, we're not the enemy. Our goal isn't to take your child from you. It's to help you to be able to become that parent, and show examples. And I'm not here to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to make an example that you can see. I want them to look at me and see how I interact with their children, how I do that, and that is the best thing to do. I'm not telling you how to do anything, because Lord knows that's not what they want to get out of it. All I can do is show them my love that I have for their children, and show them how I parent, and hopefully out of that they're able to learn some from that as well.
Well, and then an example is so since he's gone home, I talk to his mom probably every other week.
Yeah, roughly.
We FaceTime. I get to see pictures. I send her pictures. I got invited to muffins with mom.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
that one was really cool. And
Yeah.
so I was like, thank you, yes, I will be there. She's like, can you get it's like an hour away.
Yeah.
By 8 a.m. I was like, oh yeah, I can be there. And
Right.
and so and he's gotten to spend the night a few times. And so we just try to be a continued support. And then we our other one of our families, so we have a baby, so you experience a lot of firsts, and that's hard for the biological parent, because their first Christmas, their first, and so I try with them to be able to do special things. Like I met the parents baby this year at the mall to do trunk or treat, and then we did Easter bunny pictures, and they wanted me in the picture, and I was like, they were all dressed up nice, and I had just come to bring her for the pictures, and I was in sweats, and so so there's that picture. And then they meet me at different therapies, and so I always give them my phone number. I just start out that way, and then
as long as they don't abuse it.
You have to set boundaries.
Right. Sometimes they'll go a little too late. You have to redirect them to understand.
Yeah, and that's in every relationship. I mean, these kids come into care because their parents, this could be generational, and they don't always know just exactly the social norms or what they have had to set the boundaries before. And so that's just part of developing healthy relationships. So them seeing that, I think helps.
And I think too is just let the foster parents know, or the parents know that they may call us mom and dad. And that's what if they want to call us that, then that's fine. But we're not here to replace them. We're here as a helper. And so as they have transitioned back, a lot of times we're like, hey, here's your Kerrie. Hey, here's your Kenny. And so it's not mom and dad anymore. It's that relationship that we have now. Like you are, and it's your Kenny and your Kerrie, and it still has meaning to them, and not mom and dad.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's the thing that's difficult. For us, it's difficult. And I imagine it's difficult for their family whenever they first are hearing, because we've had these kids, and most of our kids that's come into our home have been in the infant stage first, and then come to our home. We've had a couple that have been, 4 or 5. But they obviously, with us having multiple children, that is automatically call us mom and dad because everybody else is. Mm-hmm. And, but to let them know, whenever I take a child to the father-daughter dance, that I'm here in stand of this, but then also too, they know that I'm here to help them in that, and then not take that place, and send them pictures and have them be involved in it as well.
Yeah, a lot of pictures. We send a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? I mean, I imagine it's bittersweet when you have a child that does get to go home and you see how that parent is flourishing and how the child is able to finally flourish in that parent's care.
It's where God wanted. God wants to happen. So because of that, it's starting to see the fruits of your labor.
Well, just like when I did go to the muffins with mom, like there was also a grandma there and a great grandma and sister, and so the family that wasn't supportive as much, not that they weren't supportive, the child that we hadn't cared, but of the mom's behavior at the time, they have been able to move past that as well, and so they've come together. So to know that he was, he's got a village now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, that was
no, that's beautiful. And I think, I know for me, I started reporting on foster care in Oklahoma 10 years ago and I didn't really understand. And I think probably a lot of people don't understand unless you're in the midst of it, like you all are, that oftentimes for the biological family, there's a lack of resources, or like you said, there's generational problems that they cannot overcome. They do not have access to the resources to overcome the issues that they have had in their life. And so I think for the general public, being able to recognize that, Kenny, like you said, you're supporting them just as much as you're supporting the children. That's such an important piece of all of this.
Mm-hmm. And I try to talk to parents too when they come in, if their child comes into care, because there is a delay between the time that they come into care and then the time that they go to court and then they can get their services started. There's wait lists, there's different hurdles sometimes in that delay. So when a child comes into custody, the parents, they're thinking time frame, how quickly can I get my child back? And then sometimes they get discouraged because it's like, oh well, you can start but not for this many weeks. So I try to talk to them about, like, hey, in the meantime, they have these free parenting classes here, or they have, NA, AA, so just, and even church groups, and so just give them resources as well. But then once they do get started with and involved, their caseworker will set them up, and they can have counseling, substance abuse treatment, anger management, family therapy.
And as long as everything's going good, when like what Kerrie was saying with us, being in sports or band or that thing, as they go forward, we want them to encourage them to come to those activities and be there as well as they transition and get in, but not right away, or if there's some conflict between everything. But we want to make sure that it's a safe environment for the child, and they'll come and enjoy watching their son play soccer or their daughter play basketball, and really get to cheer them on, and so still feel a part of their lives. The same situation is that we're fostering that relationship, and they've got to see us, how we interact with their child, and how they're going to continue to to interact. And that's what I know some foster parents.
I have been accused of spoiling them.
just
I do get that a few times. Yes, that they probably wouldn't act this way if I had not spoiled them. But I think
they've been, in our mind is that they've been through a lot, and it's time for them to enjoy, from as much as we can. I mean,
everybody has different parenting styles. I mean, we're just
sometimes we're the grandparents. Like every kid loved going to the grandparents' house because they get to get away with more stuff. No, but we really enjoy them. We set good boundaries, and just make sure that they just have a safe environment, loving environment,
and opportunities. We try to go on vacations.
We take them on vacations and things, and just so that they're part of our, when somebody comes into our home, they're part of our family, and we're not going to keep them from other activities. They're just going to do what we do.
You're gifting them a childhood,
right? And that's what exactly. Well, thank you. It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And what I love that you guys have talked about so beautifully is that you're not just helping these kids heal, you're healing actual families. Kerrie, when you talked about that whole village that was at the Muffins and Moms event, you guys are getting to be part of healing that entire family, and that is just so beautiful.
You know, and
Yeah, and
I would love to be able to say that every situation we've been into has turned out well. Unfortunately, it has not. But it's just unfortunate because like we're open, we're transparent. You know, and when they get into it, I'm like, hey, look, you're going to be involved in this child's life as much as you want it to be. You know, and if they work their program and they're respectful of our home, respectful of the child, they'll get to do more things. You know, and not that we're doing that. It's just something that hey, we're open. That a lot of other foster families are not necessarily open to as much. We'll be as open as much as possible.
I think it helps that we're, you know, older. We have older son. I've worked in child welfare because it is that I do know people have a lot of fear, and I will say that like we've never had anything.
Yeah.
You know, maybe some ugly phone calls, but nothing major.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that.
Yeah.
You guys just have a very you have a very good perspective, I think it seems to me, on what matters and what you can let go of.
And yeah, and that's what we try to, and unfortunately not every situation, like I said, works out, and I want it all to, you know what I mean? I want this, I get good, I get enjoyment out of seeing the parents succeed and seeing their children have a good time and succeeding in sports or school.
Well, and you have to believe too. You have to believe that. I mean, you have to believe in recovery. You have to believe in a second chance, and
right.
And so, and we've been able to see that in our own lives, and so just to be able to hopefully encourage. But then people ask us all the time. They're like, "Oh, how long are you going to have this one?" And my normal response is, they're in our home until they're not, but they're always in our heart.
Yeah.
Love that. So you two provide a lot of support for kids, for their families. Tell me more about what kind of support you receive along this journey that's been especially helpful to you.
Okay, so I went ahead, I thought about that question and I wrote it down because we have had we have a community that has stepped up and helped us and just provided. We even though we do foster through an agency, and Circle of Care has been a big support for us, as well as we have DHS caseworkers. I'm actually remain friends with some of them after the kiddos have gone home, and we've always had really good success with our caseworkers, CASA workers who've come in, and they brought, like this year she brought some presents for the baby, and then they'll let me know if I need help taking one to a doctor's appointment, things of that nature. We have Citizens Caring for Children who will give you clothing 4 times a year, and then they have like a back to school thing. And so I always sign up my kids, and because you're not ready at any given day to have a child enter your home and immediately fully clothe them and provide all their school supplies. This year we took in 2 kiddos right before school started, and I get the back to school list. I'm like, oh wow, this is no longer like a $40 fee. They're wanting like and so we were able to Citizens Caring for Children, and then
and Citizens Caring for Children, Chet Holmgren for the Thunder really was there and helped me pass out the coats. It was great to see somebody of his stature, not only height, but he's a tall guy, but help out. I mean, it was funny seeing him walk around a little 3-year-old and start putting on jackets for him, and it was something that was very special that our foster daughter still talks about today, about that. And we're watching the basketball Thunder game, and she's like, hey, that's the guy that helped us out with the coats. And so a lot of fun.
There's
and then our local community. I know that Kerrie's mentioned a lot of people that are set up for this, but to me, the one that's been the most is our local community, our school, and then the pillars of our community. Some of the guys, Kelly Ford, and
I could put on. If we get a child, and without disclosing too much information about them, I could put out on my Facebook, hey guys, we have a new friend that wears size 4T and really likes purple, and we'll
bombarded
Yeah.
with new things. I mean,
so-
yeah, I mean, and then like we'll get a new like whenever we have gotten babies coming home from the home, it's like we had a baby shower. We'll show up and they'll have our whole front porch is full of
Oh yeah,
kid stuff.
I guess, and there is support groups too. I also have there's one out of Garvin County that has that I go to just as part of my job, but I also have got a lot out of it and learned a lot about people in DHS that are some of the jobs that I didn't know that they assist with. Like we had a couple children on IEPs, and so there was this kind of a school liaison that's helped me and help advocate and just be a support with me as we went through that process. And then they have nurses, so we've had some medically fragile ones that they've kind of lessened the fears of some of the stuff that you just are like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, you can do it. You just need a little bit of training. And so, so yeah, there's a lot of support out there. You just have to, I mean, you have to be able to accept it. That's a little bit humbling sometimes, but at the same time, you just, and then we try to pay it forward. Like that there's a place here that called Fostering Our Village at the Nazarene Church in Mustang, and they provide free clothes and supplies. And so I try to, what we outgrow, take up to there. And
and so like we'll accept anything that people bring us. Sometimes it's their throwaway clothes, and which is fine. Bring it to us. We'll go through some things, and then we decide whether or not to discard it. Or most of the time, we're passing it along to other foster groups as well. That something we may not need. Or that we have multiple of that we're able to give to that as well, because we know and understand the struggles, the difficulties it is for foster families to start anew. I mean, because like our home right now is full, but when it's not full, at any time you get a call at midnight saying, hey, we got a baby that's in the system.
It's never during the day.
No, it's always at night. Yeah, it's always in the middle of the night. I'm asleep, and Kerrie's meeting the DHS worker at the door at 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's always after 11 p.m. when Walmart closes.
So it's always nice. They show up in a t-shirt, a gold chain, and a diaper. I mean,
that was
one of them.
Our little guy that we adopted. So that was.
We got a lot of great stories.
I think that's another kind of fear or misconception that people have is, I sign up, I go through all of the training, and then I'm doing this by myself. And that really could not be further from the truth.
Correct.
I mean, you guys have just listed a myriad of even obscure things that people wouldn't even think you can have some support, but it seems to me that oftentimes you just have to ask your caseworker for what you need, and they will find the resources. Or you guys have done a really good job of creating that community also that's there to support you.
Right.
And also they have, if you're not with an agency, if you're just going to foster through DHS, they have a new mentor program, and that's somebody that just stays with them. And I know some of those mentors, they're the ones you should be interviewing. They're amazing foster moms, foster dads, and that they walk through the families through those first 3 months when you're, you don't know the lingo for the court, or what this looks like, what what you to expect, how to bridge. There's a lot of supports out there, so you're not alone.
Right. And and my work has been fantastic as well, because I mean, for the most part, we have 8 children in our home at the moment. There's a lot of.
We have 7, but one's in college.
Yeah.
He's
7
the most
expensive. Right. So there's a lot of going homes with nosebleeds or fall off the, or sick or something like that. And so it's been I've been very blessed. I know Kerrie's blessed as well. To have, and it's just
flexibility with our jobs,
and
understand
to be open and honest, with your employer as well, to say, hey, this is what I got. I may need to leave on occasion. And I think that's what we talked about before. Some of the fathers or people that are hesitant on becoming like, oh, how is it going to affect my daily life? And so I think if you're honest and open, you know, and you talk to your employer about it, or you talk to your friends, or, you know, you may have your Tuesday night
And him and
poker.
I, yeah,
You may have your Tuesday night poker night that may occasionally get interrupted because you have to do something, you know. And it's amazing though about how your wants will change as well.
Mm.
Where like I'm a big OU fan, and I went to a lot of games. I still go to a lot of games as well, but my desires and wants will change. Now I want to go watch the basketball game of my foster daughter as opposed to going to the OU football game. You know, it may change now that we're in the SEC, but just kidding. Um, just kidding. No, it's so, you know, and so my wants, a lot of it has changed, and that's basically because of the enjoyment that I got out of seeing a lot of the joy that the children get from just having you present.
That's really great perspective. So, for a parent who is listening, who wants to learn more about becoming a foster parent, where does somebody start? And what words of encouragement could you offer?
They can. I would encourage, because there's different ways you can go through an agency, or you can go through DHS. With DHS, it's Oklahoma Fosters, and you go to the website and there's questions. I mean, there's answers to your questions, and there's areas where that you can submit application. And if you're interested in the agency, some of the things that the agencies do is provide some of that additional support that I spoke about, like maybe clothing. They have their own clothes closet available, or they bring a welcome
Diapers.
gift. Yeah, some diapers, and
Yeah.
and then so that's kind of something you'll need to think about, like what direction you want to go. But then there's several Facebook groups and different groups you can kind of check out. Just look past some
Right.
negativity and understand that there are families
Right.
out there that
And
love
and I think too is that a lot of times, like you said, the misconceptions are, am I going to get a 13-year-old? Am I going to get a 2-year-old? You get to specify exactly what you want, you know, or the
Even if it's a girl,
area that you,
yeah.
when I say what you want, it's not like that. I mean, I don't want it to sound like
what
you
you
want.
feel you're
Best,
best equipped
correct.
as a parent.
Right.
So if you, so if you are, you know, in a stage of life where you're not wanting to do diapers, you know, that we need homes for teens all the time. So, and you know, that's especially with the ones that will help them learn vocational skills and
Right.
things of that nature.
But yeah,
so yeah, you
get and like for
a
us,
child's needs list, and you
Right.
pick out like what you think you can handle. And
Yeah.
what's funny though is I worked with families and they're like, oh, I don't think I can handle that. I don't think I can handle that. And then they get a call and they're like, okay. And,
Yeah, right.
and then the next thing you know, they become like an expert on autism because that's the child that they
Right.
accepted. And
Yeah.
so sometimes things you think you can't handle, you actually
can.
yeah,
Right.
and excel
Mhm.
at it.
Right. I mean, yeah, similar to us in our situation, but that's what starting out with. And but for us, we want, you know, we had all boys, 3 boys in our home, and like for us, we said we wanted boys under our youngest son's age, so there wasn't any competing, you know, territory on that. So
because I didn't know if I could help being a girl mom. We go, and so now we have 3 girls.
yeah,
You worked up to it.
Yeah,
Right,
lots,
exactly.
lots of those.
Right, exactly. Yeah, used to, yeah, first time being the boy, you know, the girl dad and the girl mom. So it's been fun, and what an amazing ride, an amazing
yeah, just
journey.
do your research. Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can call me. I'm welcome. I would answer any questions. There's several foster parents around the state. Because I mean, we have kids right now. Oklahoma has, I want to say, 5,900 kids in care, and so that need homes. And I mean, and the sad reality is you would hope that every one of them are in a safe home every night, but there are children that do end up in offices, that do end up, you know, separated from their siblings. And so we have a part of a sibling group. They were already separated when we got them, and we were,
Yeah, we got 2 of the 4.
so yeah, but we are in the process of not of trying to work with the other foster family to see if we can get them together. And so
Yeah,
that's great.
to get at least, I mean, just to know each other and to
right.
and to do things and have that relationship. So
That's great. So while not everyone may be called to become a foster parent, as you just mentioned, Kerrie, there are lots of kids in care who need support, and we can all do something to support all the families and children who are involved in the foster care system. So how can families best provide meaningful support?
I think through donations, and meaningful donations, I think you'll be able to find the churches. There's a lot of churches around that have, directly involved in the foster. Obviously, then Kerrie has more of the ideas that she has that for her work and things
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
we things that have been meaningful to us, particularly we love a parents' night out. Like if a if a church or somewhere has a
Right.
parents' night out, Kenny and I have it down. It could be between 6 and 9, and we will go we'll drop them off, go to the
Yeah.
mall, do some shopping, go eat, and then get back there. So we have that down. But yeah, give a date night, things like that. Just
And you'll be amazed about how many people are foster parents that you may not know that you work with.
I was just gonna say some of the other things, like I said, the respite. People have brought us meals. I always say, contrary to the movie, children are not cheaper by the dozen, and so, so like some people helped us out with Christmas and things of that nature, and just occasional food. And then just you know, sometimes when you just being understanding of what this kid has been through, and that they also
Yeah.
have not
We've
yeah,
we've faced
they don't know the social norms, and so you take a child to church, and everybody knows that you don't say a bad word in the middle when you're upset, but we might bring a child that does that, and so that
Yeah.
just being
kind
forgiving,
and understanding
yeah,
that
that we're working on it,
a lot of times, like we have taken some of our foster kids that started in school and or even though we know we want to treat them all the same, sometimes you have to understand what that kid has gone through.
Mm.
And a lot of times treating each child the same isn't appropriate whenever this is a 4 or 5, 6 year old that's been yanked from their home, in their mind, yanked from their home, no longer in the same demographic, no longer in the same
yeah,
ethnicity, culture's different, and everything's a shock to them. And they're going to fight or flight. And a lot of times they can't flight. So it's fight. And so you've got to be warm and understanding where that child's coming from. And their only defense is to fight. And that may be with words, with uncaringness, where they'll say words to hurt you, or things like that, and realize that your job is now to just help redirect them, love them, understand where they're coming from. And I think that is, the biggest
just
thing.
showing grace, yeah,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
just knowing
Yeah.
that. And if you see a child that's running in the opposite direction, and I'm over here with the stroller, it's I welcome the help. Sometimes people sometimes people don't, because there are myths about foster care. Like I've had somebody ask me before, oh, can she come sit by me at the football game with their daughter? And I'm like, yeah, of course, because they said, well, it's allowed through foster care. And so they just don't know that like our kids are, it's called prudent parenting, and that they can go to birthday parties, they can be, yeah, they can, yeah, and they can at our discretion, and be just a normal kid. And so, but sometimes our kids have a little bit more behaviors, so just show grace.
That's such a good point, and that is something that should be easy that we can all do to look for those families around us who have kids in their care that we can show some extra love and grace to in our circles.
Mhm.
That's a great one. You guys are superheroes. Thank you so much for joining me
I
to
know.
share a little bit about your story. You are. And thank you for all of the great examples you've given to really empower families in the Metro this year to figure out how they can be a help and support, become a foster family or support foster families. Thank you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we can do it.
Yeah, if we can do it, anybody.
Yeah. And we do have to refocus and redirect. Sometimes you'll start
Sure.
looking at things, and so it's kind of an an ongoing,
Yeah, ebb and flow of our marriage, ebb and flow of your relationship with your biological children
Yeah.
as well. And you just have to constantly be on, understand that what's going on and be on guard, because easily you can turn around, it's a month and y'all haven't done anything together, or one-on-ones, or or 2 months have gone by, 3 months have gone by. And so just be aware of all the things that you used to do in the past before that happened, and try to keep that traditions with your biological children going as much as possible, and with your wife and husband as well.
That's great advice. You got to care for yourself so that you can care for everybody
Sure.
around you.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kerrie and Kenny. And for our listeners, you can visit metrofamilymagazine.com to learn more about how you can become a foster family, how you can support foster families, and hear more inspirational stories from parents like Kerrie and Kenny. Thanks everyone for listening. Join us next time on Raising OKC Kids.